You don't have to look very far to find a marriage that's in trouble, even one that's in crisis. All marriages, sooner or later, face challenges. We believe there's hope. What if there was a way for your marriage to recover, be restored, be stronger, alive, and even life-giving? I'm Michael Thompson, the director of Zoe, and we believe there is a mission, vision, and strategy that God has for your marriage. We have taken our Encouraging and Equipping Marriage Conference and created a new resource called the Rendezvous Project. The Rendezvous Project is a video resource designed to be used as either a weekly small group journey or hosted as a weekend retreat. During the journey, you'll experience teaching and encouragement from the Zoe Guide team. Hear stories from marriages that are willing to share their struggles, discoveries, challenges, and triumphs. We believe God created marriage as a significant way to teach us how to love, become who we truly are, and see the power and glory of two people walking with God together. You're invited to a journey, an exploration of your heart and the heart of your marriage. Join us for the Rendezvous Project.
All right. We in? We all in? All right. Thanks, Joseph. Hey, welcome everybody. Welcome to the Rendezvous Project Launch Party Live 2021 Gala Extravaganza. Woo! I didn't hear anything. Yeah, woo!
Yes.
If you can't tell, we are so excited. Got some guide team on here, got the launch team on here, and we even got reinforcements. Greg brought the Recalibrate allies reinforcing our evening. So this is so cool. We got family, we got friends. We are a family, right? And we are friends, and we're allies. So this is I got to just give a couple props to a few people. I haven't won an award, but it's going to sound like I have. Okay. SJ, Scott Jennings, incredible amount of work and effort on the Rendezvous Project. Even though you're muted, let's just pretend like you're giving him a clap. That's awesome. And then we've got, where's Christopher and Cole Phillips. He's down here on this box with a headset on. And Cole has been our graphic designer through this process. Unbelievable project guide. Many of the graphics that you saw on the trailer, which then it goes from Cole to a guy named Patrick Dunnigan. Patrick Dunnigan has been my audio video guy for 15 years. Did the Expedition project with Zoe. He's the guy in the booth on all our weekends. Got a shout out to him. Hours and hours. These guys don't get paid enough. Hours they've invested in this project. And still, just yesterday, SJ may tell this story, but I'm going to steal it. Just yesterday, SJ's watching it. He's kind of lining up some things, getting the last touches on the project guide. And you know, big SJ, right? Tearing up on the eve of the release of the Rendezvous Project. I don't know if it's because he's just so tired of watching it, or I think really he's just so excited that we're finally there. It's finally coming to this place. So I couldn't be more excited to have the Recalibrate guys, to have the launch team, and to have our guide team. You're going to get to hear from some of them and kind of how this journey went for us. I'm telling you, what if we're a part of something that would change thousands and thousands of marriages around the world? What if? Jesus has done crazier things. Just let me let you know that. Crazier things. So what if all of this work, SJ, Cole, Christopher on the website, Patrick, and our team and our guide team, what if? Man, it's a great idea. It's a great thought. I get so excited about that. So welcome, everybody. Do you want to say, did I leave anything left for you to say?
No, we are so glad you all are here. Hi, everybody. We are really grateful for those of you who are willing to step in to this and willing to do this together and willing to do this with your friends and willing to invite and we are excited with you, for you, and we are with you and for you in this. And we're excited to see your faces tonight. So welcome.
Yeah, so we're just gonna share a little bit for the next 20 minutes, I think, about 20 or so minutes, and then we're gonna kind of start to get some conversations, and Joseph will man the air traffic control, people coming in and coming out with questions and comments and stuff. But I just I want to say that this has been about an 18-month journey for us to get to this place. And before you guys came on, we were praying. It feels like that that this is coming into port, coming in with all its goodness, and it's going to transfer out and go out. And so tonight kind of feels like that to me. Like this is a exclamation point on some very significant work, some very incredible journey. I can speak for the whole guide team. We've had a blast. We've had a blast doing this. All the footage and pickups and the writing and the scripts and the edits and all that stuff. We've had a blast, but we're real excited and so glad you're with us tonight. So I'm going to turn it over to SJ and Sherry, because I think they're gonna share a little bit about why this is so important, as if you don't know. But I think they've got a little more to share on why we believe this is so important in the state of marriage and what's going on today, but what's been going on for such a long time when it comes to marriage. So I'll turn it over to SJ and Sherry.
Yeah, Michael, thank you. And just to reiterate Michael's sentiments, Robbins, to welcome. We're so thankful for you. Welcome to the Recalibrate guys. Thanks for joining in and being a part of our call tonight. We've released a podcast over the last couple of weeks, and we're going to continue to talk about marriage over the next several podcast episodes. But this first one that we put out, Michael and Robin and Sherry and I got together, and we just kind of talked about the state of marriage right now. And, you know, marriage it can be challenging in the best of times. And we had talked about how the circumstances of the last year have really exacerbated issues within marriage. One of the things that I touched on and we touched on was, you know, when you have no place to go, when you can't go to work, when you can't leave the house because you're under quarantine, it's like it can become like a pressure cooker. And we've seen some of the statistics. I don't have them in front of me right now, but there has been a drastic increase in the divorce rate. And so marriage is under fire. Now I would say it's under even more intense fire. And so the need for a resource like this is really, really felt right now. And so what is different about the Rendezvous Project for me, and we're going to go around the guide team and kind of ask them too, and see what they have to say, see what they think. But, you know, what makes the Rendezvous Project different for me, Sherry and I have been involved in marriage ministry for many years now. And the Rendezvous Project to me is different because it goes into the issues of the heart. It goes into the true self, the false self. It goes into the two realms and the two kingdoms that we operate in, the physical realm, the spiritual realm. But even more so, I think there was a point in my journey when I was counseling couples in marriages when I realized I can give couples 10 tips to a better marriage all day long. But what really needs to happen is we have to go into what's at the core of an individual and what's going on in their heart and the issues that maybe they're facing, or the woundedness and the trauma that they are bringing forward from their earlier life into this marriage relationship. Everybody kind of comes in with all of that stuff. And we haven't found a marriage resource that goes into it the way that we do in the Rendezvous Project, and kind of helps you, if you haven't begun this journey, if you haven't been to a Heart of a Warrior encounter, you haven't been to a deepening weekend for women, then it's going to be an entry point for you to start that journey of the heart. And it's really, really crucial. And we feel like that's what makes it, I feel like that's what makes it different. you can share. Why don't you share?
Honestly, my heart breaks to get one more call saying, Sherry, he's left me. Or, Sherry, I can't believe that she's done this again. And so I'm excited to have the Rendezvous Project to be able to create that environment for couples to spend time alone with God, to bring him their questions, to have those conversations between each other and God, and to get to know each other's stories.
Yeah.
Back to me. Are you looking at me? You look like you're looking at me. SJ, are you looking at me? So we thought it'd be fun to just share a little bit about the history, because as the Jennings shared, that's not fun, right? It's not. We know that marriages are a constant target of the enemy. The enemy can get 2 for 1, take one down, the other's going, and so we've seen the landscape of the spiritual battle full, like Sherry said, of pain and suffering in marriage. So we wanted to create this resource that could help, maybe not give answers or like you said, SJ, kind of tips of communication and how to handle conflict, but rather a direction to go, a direction in which to go with God and with your spouse. And so, but the Rendezvous Project has a big history. Do you want to start with some of the background of the Rendezvous Project?
Yeah, starting with the rendezvous weekends, right?
Yeah.
So I remember back in 2004, I was thinking back and when it was, and when Michael and I were just being introduced to and tasting these new things for ourselves for the first time, like experiencing belovedness from Jesus for one of the first times in my life, and what that was like for me to feel so seen and known by him and dearly loved and delighted in. Hearing him speak to me in my heart, it felt like something really important. And it changed me. I was learning to hear his voice. I was learning about the larger story that our stories were in, the kingdom of God and the kingdom of darkness that I didn't realize was even in and operating in this realm. It was all huger and better than I had ever known. And it just undid me and I wanted more. And so as we were tasting this more and more and enjoying it together and enjoying it with some of our friends, we started offering these things that we were finding to be so helpful and so life-changing for us. We started offering these events. Men were experiencing this at Top Gun before there was Heart of a Warrior, and then they wanted their wives to experience this. And women were experiencing this at the Deepening Weekend and wanting their husbands to experience it. And we had friends and other couples that we were meeting with weekly, and we were living in this together. And we just knew we needed to offer this to other couples. We wanted to invite other couples into this. So we wanted to start with a small, intimate weekend together, maybe like 10 to 12 couples. And so in 2008, we had our first rendezvous weekend. And the first one was at the beach. Never have we been back to the beach since. It's been the mountains ever since. Too bad, right, Cher? But we brought Gary and Lee Barkalow in to that first one to help us do it because we were...
Like 2008, right?
2008,
Yeah.
yep. Because we were still pretty much in kindergarten ourselves, just learning. We were still the newbies. We are still partaking and learning, and as we still are even now. But over the years, we've intentionally kept it small like that, which is so helpful for the intimacy that we want to share with each other as couples and as in that smaller space, that knowing and being known. which was what we were tasting and loving at home, and that kind of environment that we wanted to help create for others. That's
Yeah,
how we
and
started.
so it continued. Like Robin said, we started finding some of the bigger houses up in the mountains of Boone and Blowing Rock, North Carolina, and couples, were following it on the website. It was filling up. We were adding houses some years just because we didn't want 4 or 5 couples to say to them they couldn't come, we're full. So I remember one specific time we had, I think 4 houses up there, but one that was really, really large that we kind of called the big house. And I mean, we had bar stools from other houses that we brought over, because there was like 16 couples. And then the guide team, I mean, there were chairs everywhere, and it was fun. It was so good. And like anything evolves, I feel like our team got better at sharing the Rendezvous Project, but I think that was more the fruit and the results of our team's marriages, walking with God together, speaking from their experiences, knowing one another more about the false self and the journey. I remember too, I got to say this, that when every Rendezvous Project that we held, it seemed like, for us anyway, there was incredible warfare against our family.
Oh yeah.
It was like when the king and queen go away, the castle would get raided
Every
on the home
single
front.
year I got taken out.
Yeah, not like
Every
anything else
year.
that we do a lot of weekends, but I don't think anything else compared to
No,
the kind of
those
whether a
rendezvous
car
weekends.
accident or just sibling rivalries that went to DEFCON 5.
A dog's death.
Oh yeah, that was a
and
horrible week.
yeah, there was
So
awful.
and we weren't the only ones.
No.
There would be couples at the conference, that would come back after time alone with God and ask us all to pray for their family, their parents. So I remember so much of it fondly, but I also remember how opposed all of it was. And so what happened about 18 months ago when we decided to record this, is it was God just making it clear to me that this needs to be available to more. And I want you to film this so it can be scaled, so it can be shared, it can be offered, and that more couples actually could facilitate it. More couples could offer it, and not so limited by the conference itself. So that's some of the history, and then some of the why we turned into creating the Rendezvous Project. So back to you, SJ.
Yeah, I love that, Michael. I love the way you shared about that, you and Robin, and kind of taking a walk down memory lane with so much of the goodness of those weekends and the heart of those weekends. I remember them well.
When was your first year? Do you remember? Do you guys?
We didn't intend. I think 2012 was our first year.
Yeah. Yep.
I started going to the Ben's weekend around 2009, I think, and Sherry went to the first deepening weekend she could after I came back, and then we came to Ron as soon as we could.
Yeah.
It was great. That, like Michael said, that's kind of the hope, that we would be able to duplicate that. We just felt like the message had gotten to a point where we wanted to offer it to more people than just the 10 or 12 or 15 couples that might be able to come to a weekend with us. Let's see if we can duplicate this and get it out to folks. I'd like to go over to Joseph and Lori Mize, who are a part of the Zoe team, part of the Rendezvous Project team, and just ask you guys, they lead the bonus session on redeeming sex. For those of you have seen that. Some of you guys I heard from, you skipped right to that one first. But Joseph and Lori, if you would just share a little bit about what you feel about the Rendezvous Project and how it's different from other marriage resources that are out there.
Thanks, SJ. The first time that we attended the Rendezvous Project happened to be the one that this one is recorded. And when we were there, it was like, oh my gosh, this is exactly all that we've dreamed about a marriage retreat could be, because it's not just steps, it's really diving into the story of, heart. And that's what we love so much about it. But the one thing was like, the only thing this is missing is sex. We got to talk about sex. And so, God had something in plan that we didn't really recognize at the time. And, a phone call from Michael when I'm in the deer woods, and here we are. And it led to, adding the bonus session. And that's one of the things that we know is different about this particular resource is the invitation into that conversation. And the fact that, with Lori's background and her education, and I'm her number one fan, but she knows what she's talking about. And to be able to bring that into the context and normalize the conversation around shame and the taboo topic that it is, and the actual physical trauma that can exist. I don't know of another resource out there that has this kind of invitation.
And I just want to echo, I think what Robin said and what you said too, Joseph, about story, because I think bringing in the story of what we bring to the table, we talk in our session about we bring a custom set of baggage, we have our own set of baggage that we bring in, and it very rarely matches if at all, our spouse's set of baggage. And so that's part of our story and our individual wounding. And I really feel that the Rendezvous Project does an amazing job at diving into that story so that we can better understand each other and to know each other and be known. And that is intimacy. And, just to be able to talk about sex being the fruit of cumulative intimacy. Yeah. And how there's been so much assault against it, but how there can be so much beautiful redemption.
Yeah.
Well, and truly said. Thank you guys. You did a great job on that, and look forward to what's next with you guys on the team and the Rendezvous Project itself. And there's lots more coming, which we can get into another time. But you guys did a really great job. David and Rebecca Burnett are here tonight too. They led us through the true self and the false self at the weekend. And also redemptive parenting. How are you guys doing? Good to see your faces. And if you'd share just a little bit of the same, any of your thoughts on the Rendezvous Project and how you feel about it, what do you think makes it different?
You want to go first or you want me to? Yeah, it's great to be here. We're so excited about this. I mean, looking through the workbook that's coming along with this resource is just amazing. The depth of what couples are going to be able to go into. And one thing that stands out to me as you were playing the intro video, Joseph, is that statement, two people walking with God together. And it just reminded me of a couple things. Number one, that this is a process. What makes, to me, one of the things that makes this resource different is that it just focuses on the process that we're going to go through as a marriage and being couples and walking together. That it doesn't. We never get there. You know what I mean? We're always evolving and we're always walking, and one of the things that I love about Rebecca and I, we try to walk 2 or 3 times together. So that when hearing that again on the intro, it just kind of hit me that
a week, physically.
Yeah, walk. Physically walk. Yeah, sorry. And when we do that, we get a lot of clarity. I mean, we'll share. That's our time to download and kind of, I'm downloading with her and she's bringing a lot of clarity to issues I have and vice versa. So it's just a reminder that we're in this together for the long haul. You know what I mean? And we don't just, once we say I do, that's not it. You know what I mean? That's far from it. So I love that. That just all the tools that are in this whole weekend, the project is just, it helps you walk well together. So for me, that's one thing that stands out as being different.
And I would just say I've never been part of something like this, especially anything that's meant to be a tool in this sort of realm that exhibits such authenticity. I mean, I just love that we can bring all of our stuff in relationship honestly, and we press into what grace actually is, and we swim in forgiveness with each other. And I saw a quote one time that said, we're all just walking each other home. And I just love that posture. And I've never been part of any kind of, I hate to even call it like a leadership or, mentoring kind of tool. We don't even really use those words too much, but where there's honesty is really encouraged. I mean, it's actually critical for the process. So I think that's one of my favorite things, is that this is about union with Jesus and pressing into grace together. That has changed my life, and I'm thankful for it.
Rebecca and David, thank you so much. And it's so true, the honesty part, Rebecca, because you were really honest in the redemptive parenting session about some of the stories. It was
vulnerability.
fun.
Yeah.
That's right, man. That's right. That's right. Well, Jeff and Dana Andretian lead us through intimacy and glory in the Rendezvous Project. And Jeff is off tonight on mission, speaking to a large group of men over there in the Charlotte area. But Dana's here with us. And Dana, I'd love to just hear your thoughts briefly about those same things. How do you just generally, what do you think about the Rendezvous Project? What makes it different? What do you love about it?
Yeah, I did want to say, I am still married. Yeah, I was going to say, Jeff and I are still together, even though it's just me here right now. And I'm sure if he were here, he would say his favorite talk is the sex talk. But what I love about this whole rendezvous project, Scott, what you said earlier, it's not 10 tips for a good marriage. What I love is the environments that we set up for one another, with the intimacy checklist and with the passion verbs and with the Enneagram stuff, and that we get to go off. We set couples up to have time alone together with God. And it's an environment where we get to hear what he is saying to us about our marriages and about our hearts, instead of these 10 points, because your 10 points might not be my 10 points, So I just love, that's my favorite, I think, is that we want to run after the heart of God, and we want to hear from him for us. And we do that. I think we do that really well.
Amen. Thank you for that, Dana. Yeah, I love that image, run for the heart of God. That's so great. That's so great. Cole, I don't know if I prepared you for this or not, but man, we're doing the Rendezvous Project Guide together, Cole, Michael, and I mostly. There's some, obviously, the rest of the team has been looking at it as well, but Cole has submitted to put in, what was it, version, I think 5 today, 4 or 5. Yeah, so we're through those last 3 edits. But hey, Cole, if this is catching you off guard, man, I apologize, but just your thoughts. I'd love to hear what you think, because you've been so immersed in the content these last few weeks, especially with the Rendezvous Project Guide. Anything that stands out to you?
Well, it's hard for me to talk about what's different, because I haven't done any other marriage resources with my wife ever. We've been married for 7 years, so this is kind of our first foray into something where we're exploring deeper with the last thing we did, we read Dr. Kevin Lehman's sheet music when we got married, and that's the last thing we engaged together like this. So it's hard to talk about what's different, but I can talk about what I'm excited about. And what I'm excited about is that we, even just in watching the preview videos and my working on the guidebook, we've been having deeper conversations that have that have been fruitful in our own intimacy just together. What David was talking about, decompressing on walks. It's really, really hard when you have little kids to have time to talk and share life. And we've found the time to do that a little more in the last few weeks. I really love in the Rendezvous Project the time alone with God section, because again, I don't know from experience, but I can kind of guess that when you go to a 12 steps to a happier marriage thing, to a different resource, I would guess that there's probably not an intention of inviting Jesus into places of healing, and there's probably more, think about the thing that sucked when you were a kid and share that with your wife. That's really good. That's a good thing to be able to do. But to be able to invite Jesus into that with you is a deeper, more holy, more I don't have a word for it. It seems like the act of inviting Jesus and the Spirit to have a presence in it makes a big difference. That's what I find really exciting.
Yeah, well said, man. Well said, truth. I appreciate that for sure, and that's a great reminder that the other thing that comes to my mind as you share that, Cole, is the time alone with God, and having time to just be with God, sit with His presence, in His presence, and have these questions that would prompt you to have a conversation with Him, or just sit and listen, or just sit in His lap, and let Him love you. I love that. Christopher Matthews, our webmaster, man, you've been eyeball deep in this thing too. So, man, what would you share? What sticks out to you?
Yeah, I would definitely echo Rebecca's statement about just the authenticity. Everybody on the guide team has walked through the mud and come out the other side, not in our own strength and power, but the power of Jesus. And it's just the people behind the screen. It's not just theory. It's real life, real mess ups, real mistakes, and learning from those mistakes. And I love how everyone on the team, their desire and passion is just to help other couples not have to go through that same pain. Marriage pain is probably the most painful thing a human could ever experience. And some of us are aware of that to greater degrees than others, and that's okay. But I just love the passion that everyone has for making sure that as many couples as possible don't have to go through that same pain that many of us have gone through. And I think the other thing is just the context of spiritual warfare. My wife and I have been married 15 years, and when we first got married, we did some family life material. We did one of their weekend to remember conferences, and they were great. They were helpful. They were good. And I'm glad that we did them. But I don't know that it really fully prepared us for the behind the scenes spiritual context. Our enemy hates marriage. Obviously, we've talked about that. And I don't know that we were really prepared for the spiritual battle going into our marriage. And that cost us pretty dearly, I think, in some ways. But in other ways, our God redeems things. So we've learned and we've grown, and I think that's a good thing in the end. So yeah, there's so many I could go on probably, but I'll stop. But just those two things: the authenticity and just the context of the spiritual warfare that marriage is put in.
Yeah, well said, buddy. Thank you for that, for sure. Yeah, it is interesting to think it's rarely taught. Spiritual warfare is just rarely taught in this context of marriage. So I'm grateful that we can kind of bring that into the conversation and reveal it in the context of marriage too. Greg and Chrissy Sailors are here on there. We got a lot of Recalibrate guys. Of course, you all know Greg. He's our Zoe leader of our Zoe Allies initiatives, and want to say hey to them and see if you guys had anything you wanted to add to what's been said.
Yeah, thanks, Scott and Sherry. So the thing that really hits me is we get this question all the time in Allies. It's like, well, what do I do with my wife? Or how do I take this to my wife? Or how do I love her well? You know, and what's the first answer always been? Get your own heart back, right? But I am so thankful, right, babe, that we're just so thankful that there's a resource now that in the Allies world, as we're ministering the men, as we're helping them to know their belovedness, know who they are, that now this can come home. And it can not only, you know, the women, of course, have been able to go to deepening weekend, Sherry, which has been wonderful, of course, but now it's that together, you know, on a larger scale, because as Michael said earlier, rendezvous have been 10, 12, 15 couples. And now it can be much, much more. And so we're so hopeful, we're so excited, so thankful, because I know in the Allies world, and we've got so many of you guys on here tonight, so welcome, so glad you're here. But you're going to be able to go home and share your heart with your wife, what God's been doing in your life in a way through a resource that does it so well and so kind and so graceful that I know it'll change your marriage for the better. And you'll be able to be that man. You'll be able to be that woman. You'll be able to be that couple that God's designed you to be. So thanks very much, guys. So excited about it. It's going to be great.
Yeah, man. Thank you. That's awesome. I love that. I just saw peek down in here. Oh, I want to say too, Greg, thank you for allowing us to kind of come together on Recalibrate night for our launch team and the Recalibrate guys. It's great to see everybody. I see some guys are still having their holy smokes, but with their wives. I see a few of them there. But I want to say too, in the lower corner here, I see the newest draft pick to the Zoe team, Josh Overton and his beautiful wife Brooke, and they didn't know I was going to point them out either, but you got anything you want to add, Josh? And then I think what we're going to do is ask you guys to give your feedback on the launch team, other folks that have watched the videos. So be thinking about what questions you might have for us and things you might want to share about your experience. But Josh and Brooke, if you had anything you wanted to share, please do.
No, I mean, I think obviously I've known you, SJ and Sherry, personally for 10 years now, and I just want to affirm the hard work that you guys have put into this, and to see this come to fruition is really cool for me to be able to witness. Brooke and I both to witness that, and see you validated in that way is really, really cool. In terms of the resource, I think I would affirm and agree with everything that's been said tonight. Brooke and I actually just went through our intimacy worksheet together earlier tonight. And that was really fun just to see how many things matched up. But then, yes, how they differed, like literally sex was number 2 for both of us. So high five on that. And then, but then to see other things, to the aesthetic, the emotional, it was just so cool, man. So not only the content, not only to see the message to men and women come together, that's incredible. But then to also get tools that we can discuss in our own home, man, is invaluable. So it's been really fun, and we're looking forward to continuing it and joining others going through it as well. Anything you want to say?
I think that covers it.
Okay.
Awesome. Great. Yeah. Brooke has that look in her face like, you really didn't have to share about the intimacy checkup, buddy, but that's okay. Michael and Robin, anything else that you wanted to share before we kind of open it up for Q&A here?
Absolutely. You want to go first? Your favorite stuff?
Well, one of the things that I just want to share, my favorite thing about what makes this resource on marriage different is the invitation to explore our own story with greater depth and curiosity and compassion. And to put that on paper, pen to paper, to write our stories out, and to be able to have the opportunity to share some of that, our stories, with our spouse. And that takes great courage. And then to have the opportunity to listen to our spouse share their story with us, and really to be able to hold that space to honor each other's story by listening and leaning in and not interrupting and not trying to fix anything, but just listening. And that can be really hard for some of us to do. But yeah, to be able to hear it and hold it, and then to be open to see where the exploration might lead. I mean, we hope and pray that it leads to deeper healing. And what a gift to be able to offer that to each other and witness that.
Yeah. And I think sometimes even before deeper healing is just deeper understanding. Like, I didn't know that about you. I didn't know that happened to you.
Tell me more.
And we see that over and over again in the rendezvous projects that we hosted on weekends, and hopefully this one. A couple quick things for me, SJ, and team and friends would be, one of my favorite things about it is, it's just a bunch of Yahoo couples who got together, and just like when you were kids and you just said, hey, let's build a fort. We just said, hey, let's build this rendezvous project. And so the blooper reel is hilarious because we had so much fun.
Yeah.
You know, we had so much fun, and SJ, there were teary moments at the conference in the filming, teary moments for couples on the couches in their interviews. You know, so we kind of, you know, you go here and then you go here, and I love that about the final cut. Last thing that I think God kind of snuck up on us with was when we started this project, COVID wasn't on the screen, it wasn't on the calendar, it wasn't an event. And so even in the Rendezvous Project trailer, you know, it talks about a weekly small group or hosting a weekend. Well, what we have found with the launch team and what we have found with other friends and allies is this is also, we've added to this, that we've promoted this. This is a resource that you and your spouse can do together. Just
the
together.
two of you. Yeah.
The two of you. And I think that's we're seeing that, though we didn't see that at the time, we see that now, that God is going to put that in couples' hands who may not be as comfortable with a small group, whether COVID related or not. Counselors that we know that may use now the Rendezvous Project to facilitate counseling, pastors who are excited about having a resource that they could share with couples who come into their office for help. Would you watch a few of these episodes and then come back and we can talk about how is this going? How do you see this? So I'm excited about those things, and I think that's a significant for my heart, and looking forward to how this thing rolls out when it really gets to get moving. So.
Yeah, man, well said. Absolutely. We really have seen that in your feedback. And to the point of what, gosh, now I can't remember who shared it earlier. Oh, it was Greg talking about guys going to the expedition weekend and then bringing it home. We heard from one of the couples that's going through this that, you know, the husband has not been able to explain really what Zoe is all about, and kind of what the message is all about really effectively. And through the Rendezvous Project, his wife now understands that. I think that, yeah, that's the Kaufmans. So I didn't want to call you out unless you wanted to be, guys. So it was great. It was such a great, encouraging message to receive, and all your messages and your comments that we've seen come in. Joseph, if you would do me a favor, I think on Zoom, there's a way for people to raise their hands or do something to draw attention to themselves to see if they had a question for us. Or what do you think is the best way for us to go about doing this, buddy?
Yeah, friends, if you have a question, if you're good, just raise your hand and then I'll ask you to unmute. And if you will click on your name, you should have a little icon at the bottom that'll allow you to raise your hand. If you click on reactions, or you can just unmute. I don't want to make it complicated, and just pipe in with your question.
Yeah, so there on the bottom bar, you should see the reactions button, and there's a way to raise your hand there. Or like Joseph said, if you can't find it, just start talking and we'll figure it out. Anybody got any questions for us?
We were hearing a few things about some of the resources that are available. Is this something that's just going to be like from this conference, or is this something that's available now? I heard somebody saying that they had the little questionnaire and they did it with his wife. And where are these resources available?
Such a great question, Steve. Thanks, buddy. Yeah, you can go to the rendezvousproject.com on starting on Sunday. Sunday is launch day, Valentine's Day. And on there, you can purchase access to the videos and you purchase the Rendezvous Project guide that goes along with it. Okay, so now if there are people that want to go through it as a group, you can do that as well. One person could purchase the videos, and then each couple that wants to participate in the group would go and buy their own project guides. They come as a pair of guides, because each individual should have their own project guide. And then you can figure out the cost afterwards. If one person pays for the videos up front, and then there's 10 people in a group, they all chip in and offset the cost and those sorts of things. Most folks are familiar with small groups and have been a part of them before, but if you haven't, please email us at support@therendezvousproject.com, and we'll kind of walk you through some maybe best practices or ways to do that.
So we've got Jay and Patty Graves with their hand raised.
Yay.
Unmute, please. Jay, there you go.
Okay. I'm a little slow, guys. You know that. I just wanted to encourage you guys. And Michael, it's been 3 years since I first came to Heart of the Warrior in Rockbridge. And you and SJ came to Blue Ridge Community Church and shared. And yes, I am one of the ones who had a hard time, Scott, sharing what happened at Zoe to my bride. And we will have 39 years in. So when Michael made the comment about the couple that have been married for 50 years, I was going, okay, Lord, what am I going to learn? But you guys, this project is spot on. We were both we haven't finished the whole review yet, but each session has spoken to both of our hearts. And so I just want to encourage you guys on the leadership team and everyone else that's been involved with this. This is amazing, and it's going to be very fruitful. So thank you.
Yes, we've been to several marriage weekends. I can't think what the names were, but which we went to when we were first married. And it is funny how you don't know what you don't know. But even 39 years into marriage, you still don't know. I mean, it's like I knew I had wounds, but I didn't even realize that there were some that I wasn't even thinking of that were wounds that you don't think of as wounds. So this has just been it's been so encouraging, and I'm so happy that I'll be able to share this resource with my children, who are all our children, who are all married. And
yeah, we have a youngest daughter named Abby too, Michael.
Yeah, and so I don't want them to wait until they're 39 years into marriage, especially since we went through a very hard time in our marriage, that I'm just very glad that we're still together. So it would probably have prevented that. And it's only, of course, by God's grace that we got through it. So thank you so much. We have enjoyed it, and we look forward to seeing the finished product. And sharing it with everybody.
Yeah,
Well,
divorce wasn't for us either, Scott.
what's that?
Divorce wasn't in the play for us either.
That's right.
That
That's right.
doesn't work.
No.
That's good, man. Thank you so much, Jay and Patty, for sharing that. That's
You're welcome.
amazing.
We love you guys.
We love you too, buddy.
No other hands raised. Anybody have any other questions?
Questions, comments, thoughts?
Hey, SJ, I meant to share this earlier. I totally forgot. The very first session, I just love how Michael and Robin both really bring people into the larger story and into the full message, before we go into some of the practical things. But as Michael's sharing, and I've heard this several times, I've been to several weekends, I've read the book, I've heard this several times, and it was amazing as ever. And then Robin gets up there and she opens up and she shares kind of her point of view. And Brooke is watching this whole session with me, word for word. And then Robin finishes and she just turns to me and she goes, "Oh my God, that was just incredible." And I was like, "It was good." She literally said the same thing Michael said. And it was just so funny because she was like, "Robin just, oh, it was just, man." So I love that.
Story of my life.
Okay. But it's because Robin's story has very much been my story, where he would come home from the weekends and say, "You need to experience this. You need to experience this." And it was very much like what Robin had said, like, "Excuse me, my heart's fine."
Yes. Yes.
And so what Robin did and what she does is invites the woman in to say, it's not that we're calling your heart bad, but our hearts are worth exploring.
So good.
And our hearts are worth sharing. And we do, something that I'm just personally walking through is that I have a voice. And that voice is worth sharing with my husband, my spouse, and others around me. And I think that this curriculum and Robin, the way that you put your heart out there and that you share invites women to experience that as well. And to come into the marriage relationship and say, "Hey, like, here's some things that I have. Here's my heart. I'm trusting you with it. You better not hurt it. I'm trusting you with all of these things."
Yeah.
And start there. And then it invites them into maybe the women's deepening weekend, or maybe a study, or, anything to say, like, I've trusted my heart with the person I can trust it with the most. And now I'm going to go one step further. So that's why, because I related so much with what Robin had said, because we lived that very thing. I'm like, but my heart's good.
Yeah. Yes.
That's so good, guys. Thank you. Yeah, and Robin is awesome, for sure. That's where Michael gets all his good stuff, is from Robin.
Brilliant.
True. She reminds me that she's my Ezra every day.
Every day.
Yeah. So good.
Hey, SJ, our buddy Sean Spinks has his hand up.
Okay.
Hey guys.
Yeah.
Man, I miss seeing you guys. So quick question. Well, first of all, I'm sorry. I've been posted on social media and stuff, but I totally missed the email because it was right on the surgery that we had access to the videos. So I'm gonna start watching that with my wife tonight, actually. But after this, but that being said, question is, when this goes live, what is the price for the different things? I haven't seen that anywhere. So
$1 million.
Oh, I know, that's amazing.
No, so how we set it up was that there's a license. So if a couple is going to buy a license to watch the video series, the 12 videos and the bonus and other stuff, it's regular is going to be $249. That includes the workbooks. But I think we're going to come out of the gate with something a special for all of our friends and allies, knowing that they're going to step into that first. So I think SJ's got that planned. And then, like has been said, what we wanted to solve as simply as we could, Sean, was if you had 4 or 5 couples that wanted to watch it with you, then when you purchase the license, you actually get a code that they can then purchase their workbooks. and they put your code in. So now we know who is in your group, who's walking through this. So if a church bought a license for the $249, they could actually, 1,000 people from their church could buy the journal workbooks, could buy the participant guides because they have the license. So we wanted to kind of be connected to the people who are facilitating, who are going through it. And instead of, creating lots of different tiers of, well, if you have 100 people go through it, or if you have 5 people go through it, and try to do that, we just made it as simple as we could, that the license to the video is one thing. We were looking at this, by the way, SJ, I think this is worth mentioning, that the counselors that we've talked to, this would be worth about $1,800 worth of counseling.
Yeah, if each video is 30 to 35 minutes long, plus the exercises, just figure an hour every session. It's 13 hours of counseling.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're partnered with some counselors on our website too. But yeah, Sean, I'm glad to talk through with that or about that more with you, about how the church structure works, if that's what you're thinking about. But yeah, it's going to be available on the rendezvousproject.com, and hopefully we've made it pretty simple to navigate on there.
One other thing, SJ, on that I love, Sean, is if a couple bought this thing and they didn't want to host a group, they just want to go through it, then they have what they need. But if they want to do a group, they still have what they need. They've already bought the video series.
That's right.
So if you wanted 5 or 10 couples to go through this, or you want to take it on a weekend and go, if you've got the license, you have access to having people go through this with you. So that's, we're actually really hoping this thing gets pirated. We're hoping it gets downloaded in all kinds of languages and sent across Netflix and Amazon and all that kind of stuff. We're hoping that'll happen. So
yeah, man.
SJ has created a large back door to this whole thing, and it's wide open. So we're hopeful.
It sounds great. I just question. So it was $249. Was that including a workbooks for you as a couple? Okay, for 2. Okay.
Yeah, but there's a better
or is
deal.
that separate? And then what is the cost of I'm just trying to look at if I'm going to be promoting this eventually with other people and stuff. What are we looking at for the workbook costs for people and stuff like that?
Yeah, so when people buy, you need to buy, they come in pairs, assuming that a married couple is going to be going through this. But I would say if someone is single or going through a difficult time in their marriage and just wants to work on themselves in the context of marriage, even if their spouse maybe isn't interested in doing that, shoot us an email at support@therendezvousproject.com. We'll get you a copy if you don't want to buy the 2 copies. But they come in pairs, and so you get the access to the videos and a set of the guides for $249, and then additional sets are $50. So you're paying for the guides and then the licensor for each set of couples to watch the videos, rather than doing a tiered structure of 1 to 10 people can watch it for this amount, and then 11 to 20 people can watch it for a higher amount, and so on and so forth. We just wanted the videos to be one price, make it simple, and then the licensure to watch the videos is included in the cost of the guides, if that makes sense, Sean.
Okay, right. I heard somebody ask the question.
Thank you.
I heard somebody ask the question, well, what's next? What else? Like, is that it? No, that's not it.
I can't read.
So what we are anticipating and what we're excited about, what we believe is going to happen is there will be a rendezvous nation. There'll be rendezvous allies. There'll be couples like you who will go through it, maybe host a weekend, host a small group, host the weekly. And we want to grow up more guides and facilitators, especially what Zoom has taught us and what COVID's taught us, even when we get outside of the sanctions of all of it. What if you could lead a group with 5 or 6 people from around the country? What if there were couples who don't have another couple to go through it with? That's just where they are in their journey, where they are in their life. What if we had host couples? What if we had training for those host couples? What if you could come into Durham and Chapel Hill and we could host you and we could have just facilitator training in July, September, October, next year? What do additional resources look like? The way SJ and the team has made this, we have more content that we can bring. We're already starting to talk about, well, if this is Rendezvous Project 1 and a church wants us to come and do the Rendezvous Project, that they've gone through that, what does 2.0 look like? Who out there could be a part of a greater team that could go to some of those churches? What if there's 100 churches that want us to do this with them next year? Well, we need more teammates. We need more partners. We need more friends in being able to step up and step into this fight. So there's a lot more to come. Glad you guys asked that question, and believe that, you know, couples like you could facilitate healing, restoration, and friendship. I mean, I love that the Rendezvous Project, the people that go through it together, learn things about each other. It fosters friendship, which we all need. We all need the brotherhood, the sisterhood, the redemptive communities that we hope will be fertilized, encouraged, supported, and watered and launched because of this. So we have huge hopes. And I'll close it out just with this. Dana and Jeff and the Jennings and we were on Exploring More podcast, talking just a few weeks ago about the Rendezvous Project and this idea of what's next. You know, if couples go through this, or they go through this once or twice, you know, what's next? And when I had the chance to share, what I said was, well, what I so hope is that the Rendezvous Project for couples will give way to the Rendezvous way. And that what you learn and what you experience and what you encounter with Jesus as a couple will just be repeatable. It's just a way that you can live. You can live with an intimacy checkup every month if you want. You can live with time alone with God together because you experienced it in the project. And, you know, the things that we taste and love, the things that bring us life, we tend to want to hang on to those things, revisit those things, step back in, recycle those things. So I'm so hopeful that the Rendezvous Project will create a rendezvous way, and that marriages will see the glory of their marriage together, and how mission is looking for them, how God is inviting them into more. And yes, there's more wounds to uncover. There's more healing to experience. And what if God wants to partner with Robin for my freedom? We've never been here before. We've never been in this place before. There is uncharted water in marriage every day. But what if you knew your God, and he knows you by name, and you know and experience intimacy with him together? What would the rendezvous way look like? So very, very excited and hopeful for that. I'll turn it back to you, SJ, to close us out.
No, I love that, Michael. And I love the idea that, you know, and you even mentioned it in the first session of the Rendezvous Project. You know, when you think about coming to a marriage weekend, it's like, oh man, we got problems, you know, we need help. And the idea of a rendezvous way, a daily practice of kind of walking in this together, I'm a retired firefighter, and that's fire prevention, right? There's times when you have to put fires out, right? Because the grease fire on the stove got away from you or whatever it is. But the ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And this is the case in this too, Michael. The other thing I wanted to add was for what else is coming. We're working already. I'm diving into a YouVersion plan centered around the Rendezvous Project. So if you're familiar with YouVersion, they call it the Bible app. And then the reading plans that are on there, if you go to the reading plans part and just search for Zoe, Zoweh, you'll see all the plans that we currently have on there. But we're going to be adding content for marriage as well. That's on the horizon too. So again, we're so thankful for you guys, and we want to honor your time. So we're going to, as my friend Jeff Andresian would say, we're going to bring it in for a landing. But thank you for investing the time for the call tonight, investing the time in for the launch team, you guys watching the videos. We're going to continue to communicate with you over the next several days about some things that are coming that are special just for you for participating. And if you would please click through the link that we've sent to give us feedback, to give us your comments. We really want to hear from you. We really want to know what you've experienced and get to hear that, and some things that might need to be tweaked still. So that's the great thing. The other thing I wanted to mention was the digital content. This is up online to be streamed, like so much is now. Everybody's familiar with streaming mostly. So then when you make the purchase of the videos, you'll actually be able to download them as well. So if you wanted to have them on your computer to then take them to up into the mountains where internet service might be spotty, that way you can do that. And then for you old school folks, if you need a USB jump drive, we can work with you on that too. So just shoot me an email if you need one of those, okay? What else? Oh yeah, allies. Greg, just want to throw it back to you real quick before we go to say any last words to your Recalibrate guys, but thank you.
Recalibrate, Zoe Allies folks, so welcome. Glad you're here. Thanks, SJ. We do this every second Thursday at 8 o'clock. And so we love for you guys. If you're new to what we're doing, maybe you came in through the Rendezvous Project. You know, we have a allies movement of men that are trying to love each other back to life. So if you want to know more about that, go to zoe.org/allies. Thanks, SJ.
Yeah, and Joseph, tell them a little bit more just before they go about what's coming in terms of marketing or where they should go, what they should share. Talk a little bit about that before we go.
Thanks, SJ. Friends, yeah, thank you so much for joining up on our launch team. It's been great to see the impact and the reach that you all have had. Please keep it up, keep sharing, keep posting, and you know, let us know the impact that you're getting and feedback you're getting as well. Wanted you to know that we are trying to grow our presence on Instagram. That account did not exist. We've got a great presence with the Facebook account, but if you could help us with inviting your friends to come follow that Instagram account. And we're doing a giveaway for the licensed products. So the videos and the two project guides, we're going to give that away on the 19th. So next Friday, just send your friends to the Rendezvous Project on Instagram, like it, share it, tag 2 people, and then your names and their names, and whoever does it will go into a drawing that we'll have next Friday. So we're excited about that. So just tell all your friends, tell all your family, share it with your mom and them, and tell them how awesome it is. And we're just so excited to finally get this thing out there.
I love that, man. Your mom and them. That's great. Hey,
my Arkansas coming out.
Hey, Christopher Matthews put on the chat thread there the link to the launch team survey if you needed that link, launch team. I saw one guy had asked about our other events, the Heart of a Warrior Advance. That is happening March 18th to the 21st, I believe are the dates. Go to zoe.org/events for more information about that. And the Deepening Weekend is coming, ladies. So check that out on zoe.org/events as well. Thank you so much for taking your time out of your lives to be here tonight. Thank you to the Recalibrate guys and to the launch team. Thank you, guide team, Christopher, Cole, all your hard work, and Michael and Robin especially. Thank you guys for your vision for this. Who knew 12 years ago, 13 years ago, right, that this is where we were going? Only Jesus. So let's honor him and pray our way out tonight. Jesus, thank you so much for this time together with these honored hearts. We are so thankful for their friendship, for their willingness to be allies with us and allowing us to be allies with them in this battle for hearts and for marriages. It's so needed, Jesus. And I just pray, as Michael said, that the United States would become a rendezvous nation, that this would be a groundswell of the journey of the heart in the context of marriage across the nation. Thank you, Jesus, for giving us the words, Holy Spirit, for leading us in the teaching, and God for the opportunity to share your truth, hope, and vision for marriage. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Thank you so much.
Bye, guys.